wanted with this sort of thing to a large extent. I would assume that's somewhat obvious. Because so many of these films are also full of this business of teaching you not to be miyayish and to be besimcha and Reb Tzaddik. I have a shtikel from Reb Tzaddik. I hope I can find it, but Reb Tzaddik says that mi sheyesh lo tshuki gedoyle l'tayvus haguf. Someone who has a strong desire for physical pleasures, carnal pleasures, al yisatzev should not become depressed because of that. Lachshoiv to think kama pogumhu, how damaged he is, how tainted he is. You should not come to think how tainted he is. Sheish like chuke kol kach, that he has such strong carnal desires. Ki adarabba, because on the contrary, hu keli muchin letoykif ahava su chukas dishazemes, that he's a prepared vessel for the strength of love and desire and searching for the truth. So he's saying something very strong, that rather than thinking about a person whose lusts burn in his heart, rather than such a person saying to himself, oh, I am so lustful, on the contrary, a person should see something positive in that. And the person should say, I experience it as lust, that's the way that I experience it. I experience it as carnal lust. That's the way I experience it on the level of this world. On the level of this world, on the level of day-to-day life, where things are manifest in their physical incarnations. But the shirish of the thing, the source of the thing, the root of the thing, is a desire for higher things. And the more desire he has, even carnal desires, that shows how much of a vessel he is and how prepared he is, how ready he is, how much he's really made to desire the great things, So when he hears something like that, it's kind of obviously chizik, this connection of good with evil, and this connection of this business of trying to see the good in the evil, so to speak, is obviously intended, at least to some extent, to give a person chizik and to lead a person along the way in such a way that he will not be discouraged, it will not become fallen, and it will not tend to despair because of the shortcomings in the service of God.
Why is it that way? Why is it as good question? You're clean. You're sensitive. You have a.
We're not disagreeing about anything. Of course, he means it like that too. But it's partial to me that he's addressing himself against the not unlikely possibility that someone who feels strong carnal desire within himself would be down on himself and would be discouraged and avoid Hashem, because he would say, "Look at me, I'm prost. Look what I want this, I want that." I would assume that that's obvious because he starts with that. Someone who has a strong chukka for taivas aguf, he shouldn't get depressed to say, how tainted am I? On the contrary, view it as a sign of your higher nature. View the evil inclination yourself as a sign of your higher nature. I'm sorry. This is from Tzidkas HaTzadik. I'm sorry. Without what?
Without the words al yisatza.
The Seder. I understand.
Two different things. One's the al yisatza, and one's the Stam says. He climbed it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you doubt that the intent behind a lot of these Torahs?
I'm just saying that this is
the Seder. It's absolutely kind of shneim, right? It's absolutely kind of shneim.
Even historically speaking, that time in history was one of the big anxieties that was troubling people. The fact that
even
the holiest people just experience very, very simple lust.
Yes, I'm sure.
It
bothers people today. It bothers people today. Okay.
The fact that it's impossible.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
Also, like say God gave you strong times to be that was not talking to you. So by saying that no, don't be embarrassed, it's something that God wants you to use. You're kind of pushing the other side. It's something you have to be embarrassed about, but you can use it.
You could say that. That's a shtikel mafulpo. You could say that. But no, I think it's poshut that a lot of all this talk is about chizik. I'm not saying that's the only thing that it's about, but it's poshut that a lot of this talk is about chizik. But of course, I also want to say that we could talk about something a little bit deeper, perhaps. The Gemara in the Dharam says that the pasuk says, the Navi said, "Al ma'av da'aretz al ozvom es teirasi." Why was the first base of Mikdash destroyed? Al ozvom es teirasi, because the people abandoned the Torah. So the Gemara asks that we know that in the time of the first Beis Hamikdash, in the time of Chizkiah Melech, the Bodkum Idonvad Beersheva, that they checked out from all the way in the north of Eretz Yisrael to all the way in the south of Eretz Yisrael, they matzu tinik v'tenoikis, they didn't find a young boy or a young girl that weren't bekim and a goyim v'ahos. So what? How could it be? See, it seems that the people, there was tremendous knowledge of Torah in that time. So how could it be that the first Beis Hamikdash was charav alozum esterasi because the people abandoned the Torah? It doesn't seem that they abandoned the Torah. So the Gemara says that answers that alozum esterasi means leiborchu b'Torah tchila, that they didn't make a birchas HaTorah before they learned. Alozum esterasi means they abandoned the Torah, not that they didn't learn. It's obvious that they learned, but leiborchu b'Torah tchila, they didn't make a birchas HaTorah, they didn't make a bracha before they learned. That's what it says. Of course, the Gemara is very difficult to understand, and all kinds of people say different pshatim. There's a famous pattern of some sefer. We can't go into all the pshatim. What's the thing? Shlei Baruch about Torah Tchila. There was so much involved with Torah, and they're busy with Torah day and night. They were on such a high madrege. Bodkum Idonvad Beersheva. They didn't find tinik v'tenoikis that weren't bekim and goyim v'ahos. It couldn't take a couple of minutes every day to say birchas HaTorah. What's going on? What's Shlei Baruch about Torah Tchila? What's Shlei Baruch about Torah Tchila? So there's a famous shtikel from the Maral. The Maral says on that Shlei Baruch about Torah Tchila means that they didn't make a bracha before the Torah. It could be they did make a bracha before the Torah, but it means the inyan of the bracha. The inyan of the bracha is you say Baruch Ata Hashem Alikeinu Melech Haolam Asher Nasan Lanu Torah Semes. That blessed are you, O God, who gave us the Torah. And Shlei Baruch about Torah Tchili means that they separated the Torah from God. They separated the Torah from God. That they were all into the Torah. They didn't think about if it was Geshmak, it was like this, it was like that. It was Chachma. They didn't think about the fact, they weren't focused on the fact that the Torah is divine. That's what wasn't, they lost sight of that fact. They lost sight of that fact. They lost sight of that fact. You know, there's a joke about a Bachar in Yeshiva who went to his mashkiach, and he told the mashkiach, I had a dream. He said, what did you dream about? I had a dream that disturbed me. He said, what did you dream about? He said, I dreamed about the Eibishter, I dreamed about God. So the mashkiach told him, you know, it says that people, you dream at night about what you think about during the day. So have you thought about God much lately? So the Bachar told the mashkiach, look, all day either I'm davening or I'm learning. When do I have time to think about God? Yeah, I'm sorry.
The Torah is possibly a representation or an actual extension.
I'm not going to go into that. Well, they say it's a lavush, okay? They say it's a lavush. But it says it's a lavush, but it also the rights of a kuchabi chuchad, and I'm not well versed enough. We don't need to go into that now. One way or another, the Torah is supposed to represent the will of God, right? Okay. And one way or another,
He is the Word or not. Okay. And the Word is God.
But anyway, so the point I'm trying to bring out is, I'm sure that many people have felt that many times, and it's been said, people coming from the outside say that Judaism is legalistic and the spirit is lacking, and I'm sure that many people have felt that many times concerning Rabbinic Judaism, that you could say that ultimately the sense of God is somewhat diminished by this endless focus on legal minutiae and things like that. It's not so difficult to understand. So people can get very involved in the Torah and lose sight of the connection of the Torah, the fact, lose sight of the larger picture,
Morality.
What? I'm sorry?
Just morality, maybe?
I don't mean just morality. I mean to put it somewhat starkly, in a certain way, one might say that it's possible to make